strength, will, and desire, building a future for me and you. Let's get inspired and shine the spotlight on the CUSW. Hello and welcome to the CUSW Spotlight Podcast, brought to you by the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers, established in 1999. CUSW has been empowering its members and shaping the future of skilled trades for over 25 years. In this podcast, we shine a spotlight on the people, stories, and values that make CUSW a strong and dynamic community. It's an exciting time to be part of this union, and we're here to celebrate the journey, achievements, and dedication of skilled workers. So turn up the volume and let's get started. Here's your host for the CUSW Spotlight Podcast, Mr. Dan Plexman.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. It's time to flick the switch. Let's step into the CUSW Spotlight. Today, we're very fortunate to be sparking up a conversation with my really good friend and my colleague, Calvin Hicks. Hey, Calvin, how are you today?
Good, buddy. How's it going?
Things are very good. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you being on the episode. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Calvin. How do you fit into the CUSW family?
Well, you know what? I go back from the beginning. I have a large background in construction, civil construction mainly. I came on board with a CUSW contractor around 2016, 2017. Came into the civil world as a groundsperson in the CUSW environment and kind of worked my way through many different contractors at CUSW doing that type of work. Tower maintenance and underground duct bank work and fiber installations and those kinds of things. So that's kind of where I came on board and worked my way into the workplace development program where I am now.
Yeah. Along your journey towards the CUSW, how did you decide to take on the roles that you do have? It seems that you wear a few different hats, as many of us do within the CUSW movement here. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of it came from just the want to participate, but also seeing the need for change. There was a lot of things that we tackled in the civil world. There was lots of hurdles that we were tackling through different perspectives of others that didn't really understand our work and our niche and the things that we went through in the civil world. So a lot of it had to do with kind of making sure that I stepped up and put my hand up and was willing to receive the training for some of these things that I'm involved in now. A lot of it stemmed from the health and safety environment. I came on as a certified health and safety representative, so I had a large background in health and safety knowledge, and I continued to expand that knowledge through training through some of our partners like the IHSA and Workers Health and Safety Center and so on. And it led into, you know, where you see me now as a member of the Health and Safety and Wellness Committee and member and Family Support Committee, a large active member in my unit. So I stepped up to help out with the unit capacity building committee. And, you know, when it came to working in the workplace development program, I became a big support for the health and safety reps throughout the entire CUSW environment. So pretty much member participation was what it came down to.
Yeah, and that's really what, as union members supporting the CUSW, that is what we all do. We all contribute. We are a member-based union. The form and functions of the union are nearest and dearest to all of us members. We really try to push that forward. Mm-hmm. I was reading your biography, and you and I have worked together throughout the years representing the Health, Safety, and Wellness Committee, and specifically planning the yearly conference, which is a whole job within itself. But I did notice on your biography, you've been taking some law courses, and I'm curious, can you give us a little bit of parallel between your passion for safety and the law courses that you're taking?
Yeah, so you know what? The big connection there is when it comes to health and safety, a lot of it is surrounded by legislation. So it was my passion to want to understand a little bit better. So I've been taking construction health and safety law through Workers Health and Safety Center. After I received an trainer certificate through the Workers Health and Safety Center, I got this invite to take one of their law courses. So um, the big thing for me is making the connection and understanding how some of this health and safety legislation has come about. So they teach you a lot about understanding past practice and case law to help you understand what is in the Occupational Health and Safety Act today.
Okay. I know through my own past experience being severely injured on the job site, the legal jargon that is associated with all of the different forms and the documents, the procedures that have to be followed in investigating after the accident, even the doctor's reports and all that sort of stuff. I could only imagine your brain just maybe was whirl like this at the end of the day some days.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I pretty much sleep with the act. It's always nearby. It's always close by, and it's something that you need to be able to interpret properly. When it comes to any type of administrative labor investigation, it's what the inspector interprets is going to be the actual laid out functions of the law. So it's good to be on the same page, and that's just the act. When we get into the standards and guidelines, it's a whole nother world. It's a larger spectrum. So I don't think a person could ever be done training health and safety law in a lifetime.
Yeah, actually, what you just said reminded me of a session that we had in one of our training days where we were talking about legislation. And I think maybe it was you that said it's funny how two or three different people can be on the same page reading the exact same type of legislation, but have three completely different interpretations of the law.
hmm
And
And you know the same thing goes for any type of guideline or standard that you may be working through. The interpretation is really an important part to understand the spirit or the intent of the language that's there.
yeah, it almost seems to me interpretation could be swapped out with communication. Like
hmm
it's just how it has to be done. You have to interpret it and communicate it effectively and clearly. Yeah. I'm just curious, as far as let's say your CUSW memories and your CUSW highlights, what are your most memorable experiences?
Well, that's a hard one to summarize. I can be
Or
honest with you. I have a lot. I have a lot of great memories in the field, and I have lots of memories in different workplaces, in different contractors, not just at one job. That it's hard to pinpoint, but I think one of the most memorable, pivotal moments for me, working as a health and safety representative, a civil grounds person and a friend was having to help one of my friends get themselves into a treatment center and still function through their everyday life and come back to work and those kinds of things. That was a really big moment for me that's always stuck out because it was a life-changing thing for myself, my friend, my coworker, other coworkers that were kind of involved into helping this situation go on. It was all new to all of us. So helping someone navigate that and giving myself the confidence to be able to continue doing that kind of thing, that was a really big shift for me. It was life-changing for myself and someone else and a brother that I love. So that was a big one that stuck out.
oh, that's really impactful. It's nice how with the jobs that we do, we spend a lot of time with our fellow coworkers. And you mentioned your fellow coworker as your brother. And I truly appreciate that. We really do feel we are a family unit. We really are. And I could only imagine the difficult time it must have been being in that situation, and for you to come out on the other side as with a positive experience. We appreciate your effort, Calvin. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks for bringing that up, because you know what? It was really scary then, but after going through it with, someone you appreciate as much as that, to be able to tackle those kinds of things now, it's almost it's a comfortable with confrontation kind of feeling, you really you navigate your way through it so much better than when you did with all that fear. I enter those types of situations quite often now with confidence. So it's not only helped me as a coworker or as an employee, but it's helped me as a family member too. It's helped me at home.
Yeah, listening to your words and your perspective, I can feel safety is your passion, definitely. And before I was injured physically, I didn't realize the emotional effects and the mental effects that a physical injury can have on a person. And as I went through the recovery process over years and years, medications that were prescribed to me, they became a physical addiction to me, and that's just how it was. And as I've continued my own roles within the CUSW as a safety representative and also my own speaking business, I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of different injured workers. And through experiences like talking to guys like you, and we've had so many great conversations in this regard to health and safety, it really, like, the emotional impacts and the physical impacts of an injury really segue, for my mind, into how mental health is really a safety issue on our job sites, and emotional health is tied in to having addiction issues, and they're all affect our safety on the job sites, and they affect our safety at home. They affect everything at home. And listening to you talk about your union brother, it spurred a conversation in my mind that you and I had a couple years ago about your actual real brother, and comparing and talking about my injury and his injury a little bit. Um, would it be okay if we share a little bit about your brother and your experience with him?
Yeah, and there's a lot of commonalities there with what you actually just brought up is when we go back to the beginning of the workplace accident that my brother was actually involved in. It was one of those things that, it was spur of the moment. It affected everybody right away. Everybody was there. It was a tragic thing. He ended up having both of his legs broken at the same time, and everybody rushed to the hospital. He went in for the surgeries, and then it was, now what do we do with the future? Where do we go from here, kind of thing. And it was a long road to recovery for him. He was 5 years before he could walk again, before he could, not use his wheelchair anymore. And there was lots and lots of surgeries and lots of medication. We're looking at probably about 12 to 13 years out from the accident now. And my brother is still, unfortunately, struggling with the addiction issues of the opiate drugs that were prescribed to him. And I think that's the long-lasting effect of one of these workplace accidents that was highly preventable, is that nobody really sees where you're going to be after the recovery, and whether it be the mental health issues or the physical health issues. Unfortunately, my brother will never be the same again. He will never be able to work in a construction work environment. But as a family member, this has impacted his life as well, because we've had many struggles with the side effects of the drugs. And, when you look back now, it's not so much the accident that has affected his life as it is the effects of the drugs that he's taking to try to live. When it comes to being able to live his everyday life after the accident, he had to take those drugs to function, to be able to do the things he wanted to do, to be the father that he is. He's a father of three. He still had to get kids ready for school and function like everyday life. So, we're still working on things together as a family, and it's probably going to be another 10 years, and we're never getting any younger. So my brother's situation, he's almost 50 now, and we have to just continue to work together on the issues that we're dealing with. And you explained about mental health. It's something that we have to keep an eye on every day. So we have to stay in contact and keep communication between each other an open line.
Yeah, listening to your story and just reminds me of our conversations about your brother. There's so many similarities between him and I. Like, we're so close in age just by a year or two. I was injured just over 16 years ago. Your brother's like 13 years. The timelines are very close. The ages are very similar. It hits me a little bit it's close to home, definitely. And I, just from my own personal experience, like I said, it's been 16 years since I was injured. And for the first 10 years, I was on a myriad of pain medications, all prescribed by the doctor. And before I was injured, I never took anything more than a Tylenol or an aspirin here and there. That's it. And next thing you know, I'm taking 20 pills at night and 20 pills in the morning, all prescribed. And they get you through the tough, tough times. But sometimes after a while, it almost seems to be a negative effect. And it's so hard to get over. It is life changing. So, thanks for sharing that, Calvin. I really understand what you're going through as a family. That if an accident like this, like myself, like your brothers, it doesn't affect just the person. It affects everybody. And people that don't even know me are affected from my accident. Like guys at my job site who weren't even on the job site that day, who I only met once or twice for a few minutes. They've had to have psychological counseling based on my incident at work. So it's a major ripple effect that we just don't understand how deep this ripple can be.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
No, you're right. The two guys that my brother were working with that day, they didn't go back to work. They didn't go back in the same field. They couldn't. The two witnesses to the accident. Yeah.
No, the post-traumatic stress that happens from just witnessing an accident can be even more so than the person who experienced it. And there's also a secondary traumatic stress disorder, the post-traumatic stress that a person experiences when they hear about someone's accident is just as
Right.
profound.
Yeah.
Like psychology affects every part of physical safety, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Let's change the subject. It is a little bit intense, but as far as like, let's say our CUSW movement, our programs, the things that you've been involved with over the years, if you were to look back, do you see any areas within our movement, within the CUSW, that we can make improvements on collectively, individually?
It's a great question. I think one of and there'll be a lot of people that agree with me. One of the biggest areas is communication. With the ever-changing world, communication is a very interesting thing. You can always trace back a failure to a communication breakdown somewhere. And that goes back to when we talk about the interpretation and the truth and the act and those kinds of things as well. But with the way the world is now, everybody's capable of communicating things through, their cell phones, and it's immediate. Everybody wants an immediate response to things. Everybody has immediate answers due to technology at their fingertips. But when we flip that around and we communicate to our members through an e-blast or an email and things get missed, some of them want things in paper in their hand and some of them want an email. So it's a large spectrum when it comes to communication. And I think there will always be room for improvement just because the world is always advancing through technology and communication at the same time. And that plays out at home as well. If you're a successful communicator, you will be successful at home and in work. I've probably said this too many times, but the key to a successful team is clear communication. And that's giving and receiving the information and ensuring the information was received well. So I think we can always improve on communication at work and at home.
I think that's part of the big reason why we had our last safety conference. That was the theme, moving the dial on healthy
Hmm.
communication. Uh,
Hmm.
there's so many different ways to communicate, and sometimes what's going on at home in your home life, it affects what goes on at work. And if you're thinking
Sure.
of something that's going on at home that's might not be that great, and then you try to communicate with people at work, sometimes the tone of your voice really isn't what you want to project, but because you're in the wrong frame of mind, you're not communicating properly. Uh,
Yeah.
I've done that myself. I brought a lot of my home life stress to the job site, and it really breaks down the communication.
Yeah, and in conversation, sometimes you can interpret that from afar. It may not even be your own conversation. You could be outside of the conversation and watching somebody misinterpret something. And I think the part about being a good communicator would be the one being willing to step up and say that I think that you're talking about the same thing in different ways and interpreting things for someone to help the communication. So can always improve.
Yeah, and making sure that the other parties truly understand what you're trying to communicate. A lot of people just say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I get it," so they don't look like they don't understand. But who that the onus sometimes is on the communicator to make sure that these people are understanding what you're communicating, because uh, communication is difficult, obviously.
Yeah, receiving the communication and understanding it is a big thing, And the other end of things is I think I used to wind up into heated conversations, we'll call it, in the workplace or even at home, is that I would make sure that I was clear on people understanding that I am not going to be the one to tell you what I think you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right. Yeah, sometimes we just can't sugarcoat things. Sometimes communicating a difficult message just has to be done, and finding a softer way to do it. It takes training. It really does.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking, as far as your experience with CSW, we've talked about your highlights. We've talked about things that maybe we could improve upon. Do you have any regrets or maybe a do-over that you would like to do or like talk about?
Not really. I think the best thing I would say to that is that maybe I should have participated sooner, you know, at at an earlier age. My biggest regret would be not joining CUSW earlier. Now, I don't really like to live with too many regrets in my life unless it's like I should have done better. So I think that's the best way to look at it is that I could have done this sooner and maybe been on board to help make a difference earlier.
Yeah, I often feel the same way, but that's just how it is with hindsight. It's always 2020
Mhm.
when you're looking back. That's for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
As far as your future with CUSW, what do you look forward to in the near future, as far as any projects you have going on upcoming right away or something we don't know about? Anything you want to share?
Well, I can tell you 2025 is going to be a big year. And even 2026. I think there's a lot of projects on the go, but I'm looking forward to helping parts of the organization grow. As you know now, I'm working in two different departments in CUSW office as a workplace development representative, but also as a training and education representative. So I think for the future, at the moment, as it stands, is to really help the training and education department grow. But when you talk about something like that, there's many different directions we can take. There's many different directions it can go, and I think that's the really exciting part about it. It goes with life as well, is that the wonder and the actual, I don't want to call it fear, but in the world of not knowing, that's the exciting part about getting up every day and doing what we do, is that the sky's the limit. So for us now at CUSW, it's a really exciting time, the growth, all of the things that we're doing. Looking at the training department itself, it does a really good job at facilitating things in the CUSW environment. So I think I'm really excited to grow with the training department at the moment, and who knows where it's going to go from there.
Oh yeah, I fully agree with the 2025 statement. Uh, I can see with CUSW, quantitative, quality wise, geographically, we are expanding, we're growing, we're building. There's lots to come, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, definitely. In parting, do you have any messages or anything you would like to share with the viewers at home, like pertaining to our work lives, our home lives, our lives in general? Just a general statement for something you'd like to promote?
I like to keep it simple. I think one of my favorite lines, really, to myself, maybe on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, is never give up, you know? And when it comes to that type of thing, you can apply it to so many areas of life, whether it's work, it's the bills, you're in trying times, you know, you're trying to cover the bills for the house, you know, you got kids on the way, or you're helping your family grow. Just never give up. Keep your head down and always push through. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish.
Oh yeah, those are words I actually live by. Uh, I try to check off boxes for my mini wins for the day, and as I get a couple mini wins, like making the bed, that kind of stuff, it all accumulates. Thanks a lot for being on the show today, Calvin. We really appreciate you being the focus on this episode of the CUSW Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to come back. I hope we have many more.
Oh, I can guarantee that's going to happen. With the amount of hats that you wear within CUSW, we can probably have a couple shows on Calvin Hicks, just like all the other members that we interviewed.
I'm looking forward to it, Dan. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, thank you. And to everybody at home, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. To contact Calvin Hicks, contact myself. If you have any show ideas, if you have any comments or suggestions, please refer to the show description, and you can find all of our contact information there. And before we dim the lights, I'd like to thank Calvin Hicks. I'd like to thank all the viewers that tuned in today. And until we meet again, continue basking in the CUSW sunshine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for shining bright in the CUSW Spotlight. Let's get inspired and shine the spotlight on CUSW.